and will play second. Kayla Tiscaronis will bat third and be behind the plate with Jenna Trim over at first base batting cleanup. Shaylin Watman is the designated player batting fifth. Claire Warwick is at third base batting sixth. Maddie Scott, the shortstop, bats seventh. Jade Wall in center field will bat eighth. And in the ninth spot, Shannon Keevers. She's over in right field. They'll be playing behind Kendra Lamb. For Italy, Isabella Dayton is over in left field. She'll lead things off. Erica Piancastelli over in right, batting second. Mackenzie Barbara is the designated player today. She'll bat in the 3 spot with Andrea Fuller in the 4 spot. Playing first base in the 5 spot, Marta Gasparotto over at second base today. Elisa Cicchetti was the catching and bat 6th. Julia Longy in the 7th spot over at third base. Melanie Sheldon will play shortstop batting 8th. And Julia Kotsinopoulos will be in center field batting 9th. Stepping in here is Cox. First pitch to her at exactly 8:30. Once again, an on-time start here. As that first pitch misses from Nicolini, ball 1. Thanks for joining us here on GameTime.sport. As pitch number 2 is lined out to left field, that is a clear that Australia is going for an aggressive approach against Nicolini this evening.
And aggressive is what Australia is going to have to do. Taking that outside pitch, hitting it where it's pitched, waiting on it, driving it to left field again. A leadoff getting on is huge. Team Australia, their approach has to be aggressive, but be patient with Nicolini, who has the slow, spinny stuff, a drop ball, change up, working that outside. So, again, coming out strong. Kind of the underdogs, Australia, I think. So, they've set the tempo already in this first batter.
Ace McManus steps in from the right side and field in at the corners. Nicolini delivers. Left-handed pitcher drops a strike in there. Australia looking for their first victory, as mentioned, of this tournament. They're playing with house money to a certain extent. Entered the tournament ranked 10th in the world. They can finish no lower than 8th for their senior national team. Now, the WBSC Konami World Rankings take into account more than just the senior national team. It's every level from U15 on up over a 4-year rolling period, so currently 2020 to 2024. So Australia's finish here just alone won't lift them up in the world rankings, but they are crucial rankings points, and that's why this game still matters, despite the fact that it is only for placement. 2-2 the count to Stacey McManus. Pitched, chopped out towards short, ranging over to Sheldon. She steps on second and fires to first to complete the double play herself. Good job by Melanie Sheldon to register the first 2 outs of the inning and of the game for Italy.
Sheldon does a good job taking it on her own. A couple days ago, Sheldon flipped it to her second baseman, resulted in the error, but since her momentum is going towards second base and it's close enough, Sheldon has now turned the tables and set the tone on the defensive side with Team Italy. And so a good double play from Sheldon, getting her pitcher 2 outs now.
Catcher for Australia, Kayla Tiscaronis, steps in now with 2 down, 1 for 10 in the tournament. Also walked 3 times. Her throwing error against China and allowed them to stay in the game, scoring the run in the first inning. China would not score again until the ghost runners became a factor, scoring again in the 9th and then scoring 3 times in the 10th. An eventual 5-2 10-inning victory over Australia. 1-1 pitch, misses away. Jenna Trim in the cleanup spot for Australia today, and playing the field as well over at first base. Swung on and missed by Tiscaronis, leaving the count at 2. Tiscaronis, a right-handed hitter, as Nicolini delivers, just fouled away. Count remains 2-2. Tiscaronis from Sydney in New South Wales, went to Western Sydney University. As you can hear the wind start to whip around the stadium. That's a bit of a wind gust there. Time called. You You can actually feel
Shocked
that all the
everyone.
way around the stadium. They felt that on the field as well. That was quite a wind gust. 2-2. Swung on and missed. It'll be a foul tip into the mitt, held on by Cicchetti. And the side is retired. So the leadoff single is erased on the double play. And after half an inning, Australia nothing, Italy coming up here at the WVSC Women's Softball World Cup Finals.
Seconda battuta con il numero 20 Erika Piancastelli, terza battuta numero 32 Mackenzie Barbara, quarta battuta numero 8 Andrea Filler, quinta battuta numero 19 Marta Gasparotto, sesta battuta numero 15 Elisa Cecchetti, settima battuta numero 14 Giulia Longhi, ottava battuta numero 23 Melanie Sheldon, e nona battuta con il numero 27 Giulia Puzzolianopoulos.
Bottom of the first inning, Kendra Lamb finishing up her warm-up tosses. She faces the top of the order for Italy, Dayton, Piancastelli, and Barbara. No score, Australia down in order. Lead-off single by Michelle Cox, erased on the double play. Started expertly by the shortstop, Melanie Sheldon. And now Kendra Lamb will start things off here in the bottom half of the first, as Dayton steps in from the left side. She is lightning fast, Isabella Dayton. And knowing this, Stacey McManus standing next to her starting pitcher. First pitch, slapped right past the second baseman's position and into right center field. Dayton already at second base before the ball even collected. Throw goes into second, but Isabella Dayton is already there. That is a leadoff double, and that is the start that Italy needed.
And Dayton hits that hard no matter where McManus is positioned at second base. That ball's getting through, and you talk about Dayton being the ultimate leadoff hitter, and it's not her walking and getting on, it's her driving the ball hard. And again, that sets the tempo, because then you have Erika Piancastelli up to bat. So again, getting ahead and getting ahead strong.
One pitch, runner at second base. First pitch to Piancastelli in there for a strike. Mentioned this on the broadcast a couple days ago, but Dayton, either the fastest or second fastest outfielder in Europe. Only one who gives her a run for her money, pun intended. Great Britain's Tia Warsaw. 0-1 coming. This is outside, 1-1. Piancastelli has been somewhat of a doubles merchant. It's a few during the tournament. A 1-1 count here as the wind really starting to whip around the stadium. 429 average for Erika. This misses up and away for ball 2. She has 3 doubles on the tournament, 2 runs batted in. Has also struck out 5 times, a bit of a rarity from her. And she does see the ball quite well. 2-1 count here. She waits with the open stance from the right side. Lamb delivers. That just misses inside. From someone who's shared a batting order with Erika Piancastelli. 3-1 count. Guessing she'll get a green light here.
Erika always has the green light.
Don't sound so jealous. 3-1, misses outside ball 4. So first 2 Italian batters have reached base. Piancastelli on at first for Mackenzie Barbara. And it's just about an ideal start, not only for an Italian side looking to finish in best possible placement, but as we watch the Lightning get ever closer in the outfield, it may become even more pertinent to score some early runs.
Well, you definitely don't want to be in a game delay when you have 5th place, 7th place, 8th place on the line. That's something that's really going to kill your momentum and your mojo. But I guess now you see teams kind of figure out ways, dance, whatever it is. But yeah, ideally you don't want the rain coming in when you've been waiting all night for this game, or all day for this game too.
We bring it up because you can visibly see how the weather has changed. The wind really whipping around the field. It's never been more than 6-7 miles an hour during the game so far. At the beginning of the game, the current wind on field, 19 miles an hour with gusts up to 30. Last half inning, we had a gust that rocked our container here a little bit. It's the light structure you see back behind home plate. As the 1-1 just misses off the plate for ball 2.
And Lamb's starting to struggle a little bit, especially with Dayton's hard hit right off the bat. Again, with Dayton getting on and having speed, putting extra pressure on you. In a sense, if you make a mistake, she can easily steal whether the ball's behind the catcher or not. Then you walk Piancastelli, not the ideal situation, because then you have Mackenzie Barbara. Can she put it over the trees? Absolutely. Over the fence, over the flags? Absolutely. So Lamb not getting the call she wants, but again, like we've been saying, needs to adjust fast, especially with Barbara up. She needs to keep the ball low and work the lower portion of the strike zone.
And that lack of adjustment, we've seen that the teams who are doing well in this tournament, Japan, the United States, the teams facing off in the gold medal game, have been able to make those adjustments. We've seen the teams that perhaps have less of a robust program who have struggled to make that adjustment to a certain extent. Australia has very much struggled. I wouldn't say that they don't have a robust program, quite the opposite, but they do have a very limited pitching staff with only 3 members who've played, one more on their team in the form of Georgia Hood listed as a pitcher. As the 2-2 chopped right back up the middle, that will make the outfield. Being waved around is Dayton. She will score, and Italy has a 1-0 lead. RBI single for Mackenzie Barbara. A seeing eye single and found the outfield, and Dayton was off and flying from contact. She will score. Now Castelli up to second base. That is one of the nice things about having an outfielder that fast as Isabel Dayton is. You put the ball in play, and she will do the rest.
And that's why she's such a keen, important leadoff hitter. All you have to do is put the ball in play, and she's going to find a way to score.
So 1-0, Italy has the lead. Still nobody out here in the first as they threaten for more. Andrea Filler takes first pitch inside, showing bunt, pulls the bat back. Ball 1 regardless. Dayton, to her credit, currently second in this tournament with a .571 batting average. Only Kyoko Ishikawa of Japan has a higher average, as we will have a pinch runner as Vigna comes out to run for Barbara at first base. See those strategic moves early and rather often as Laura Vigna takes over as the base runner at first. Still nobody out in the inning, as mentioned. You can see that wind blowing in now from right field, going both right to left and in from right at varying angles. 1-0 pitch coming from Kendra Lamb, showing bunt is Filler, ball low and inside.
And I think a good opportunity for Lamb, if you're having a hitter like Andrea Filler show bunt twice, that's Filler giving you guys an out. She's trying to move the runners, but again, you don't really want Filler swinging away with 2 runners on. So Lamb needs to kind of just throw the ball right down the plate and let Filler bunt it.
This bunt is laid down, but it will jackknife foul as it was hit in the air, had a little bit too much hang time. As now, we've been talking about the weather in the abstract. It is now a factor as the rain begins to fall here in Castellones de Estrada. Wind also whipping around, and for the first time, something other than the heat will impact the field conditions. Now the bunt laid down, bunted back towards Lamb. Trim will field it. Her only play is to first. Man is covering. Out goes 3-4 on the sacrifice. And both runners are able to advance. So now 2 runners in scoring position. 1 run home for Italy. And Marta Gasparotto comes to the plate. She has one of the home runs in this tournament. 2-run pinch hit home run. That coming on the opening day of this tournament. As that is ball 1. And now Tiscaronis out to talk to Kendra Lamb. Lamb really has struggled so far in this one. To be honest, dating back to yesterday's game, where she came in relief of Parnaby, she only went 2/3 of an inning in that one. And in that final inning, the 10th inning, Ghost Runner scored, surrendered an RBI double and an RBI triple. She has labored so far in this game. Facing her 5th batter here in the inning, 1 run home, 2 batters on. Infield in for Australia. Which misses away, ball 2.
And Lamb overthrowing a little bit here. Again, all this is easier said than done, but she needs to let her defense behind her play. Really, Australia has nothing to lose at this point. The underdogs, Team Italy, it's their last game. The crowd is hyped. So if she can kind of place the ball better, let the defense make outs, they're going to be successful and get out of this inning.
Out towards shallow right. McManus with the over the back catch, I should say. That is out number 2. Great job by Stacey McManus. Normally plays on the left side of the infield. Make that catch running away from home plate and over her shoulder for the second out, a crucial out. And now with runners at second and third, Giacchetti will look to bring them home, or Italy will strand a pair on. First pitch to her. Just misses inside, ball 1.
Again, Team Italy's going to want to crush the ball. They're going to want to show off a little bit, prove that they're a strong team. So Gasparotto over swinging a bit, getting under it, popping it up. That's how Lamb needs to approach the rest of this game. Let the defense work. Let Team Italy get themselves out.
1-0. Just misses low. Really, Australia doesn't have much to lose. They've only scored 4 runs in this tournament, so every run is critical. Their pitching has kept them in games, but their offense, with the best of intentions, has been a bit anemic. This is off the top of the bat. Over to play it is Scott. She hauls it in. That is the 3rd and final out. An RBI single by Mackenzie Barbara to bring in Isabella Dayton. And after an inning of play, 1-0, Italy leads Australia here at the WBSC Women's Softball World Cup Finals. Jenna Trim will lead things off as Australia will once again have to come from behind. 1-0. Italy has the lead here in the top half of the second inning. Trim, Watman, and Warwick due up for the Aussie Spirit. This one getting underway just after 4:30 in the morning in Canberra. Of course, just after 8:30 here, local time in Italy. Central European time. Michelini behind in the count, 2-0. Trim fouls this off at the plate. And Amanda Fama, certainly a cool opportunity to call the games, not only from a broadcasting perspective, but to have all of these different communities around the world tuning in, following their teams, whether it is Australia, whether it is a team like Canada. Had all these different interactions, as that will make the seats out of play.
Yeah, I think it's like a great opportunity for me, but also for softball, because like we were talking about in the earlier game, I'm from Southern California, live in Southern California, been able to play in Italy for 10 years, and that was great. But what I've realized going back home is a lot of people don't know about international softball. They think it's just Japan and just USA, when in reality, people, I say, hey, I'm an Olympian, and they're like, oh, there's softball in Italy? Yeah, there is, and we were one of the top 6 teams in the world. And so then you get to Australia, then you get to China, then you get to Czech Republic, and it's such a huge softball world that really is unknown to so many people. So being able to have this broadcasted is incredible.
This is out towards right field, reaching up is Bianca Stelli. She makes a catch for out number 1. And talking about that international flavor and the ability to cross those international boundaries. Grew up in Southern California, had the opportunity to represent Italy at the Olympic Games. Having that Olympic, I don't want to put a carrot in a stick. It feels inappropriate for something as prestigious as the Olympics. To have that as the pinnacle of the sport, to have that as the end goal, how much more does that help motivate the game and motivate that next young player to continue to play when previously that hasn't always been there as an option, and it's now something that's once again on the table for Los Angeles?
Well, yeah, having the Olympic Games as something to strive for adds a whole different element to the game, and at least in the United States and even in Australia.
Popped up out towards right field. Bianca Stelli, that will fall in. There's a bit of a miscommunication there between Gasparotto and Bianca Stelli. I will, to be fair to them, and the reason likely it's being called a hit, well, the wind is absolutely whipping around the stadium right now. It is currently blowing in from center. During that play, it was blowing from left to right. And as I say this, it's now blowing in from right field, as we have a defensive change, or a change from Australia. Shaylin Watman back to the dugout. Tamika Whitefield come to run for her. But having that moment with the Olympics coming up in Los Angeles, having that as the motivator now, more opportunities to have events in Europe, across the world, more opportunities to have matchups like in Italy versus Australia. That isn't a one-sided matchup. In fact, this really an odd role reversal for us historically, to have Australia as the underdog in this matchup today. And I think it speaks a little bit kind of to this whole ecosystem evolving and growing.
Well, absolutely. You have the Olympics, for example, when 2020 got announced, a lot of former athletes came back into the game, or it's something to strive for girls that are almost ending their careers and to get in shape and to do better. But for organizations and federations in different countries to put effort into that, because you see, as I know, just speaking from experience, Team Italy, Enrico doing a great job to build us up, because Tokyo was our goal. And so you see that happening with the Netherlands. They came up short qualifying for the Olympics, and they've taken steps for 2028. And again, going back to, no one really knows that there's softball in the Netherlands, and if they qualify, they're going to make it clear. So it's giving opportunities, it's giving girls reason to continue to play after college ball, where you see girls from Australia leaving home to go play. Same thing in Italy. A lot of athletes try to go to America to play because that's kind of the pinnacle so far, and then they go to the Women's College World Series.
It's grounded right back up the middle, ranging over Gasparotto. She throws to second for one. The throw to first not in time. Rourke will reach as Whitefield is retired as the pinch runner. And I think that's a great point, talking about the pipeline to college and universities. We see that replay. A nice flip from Gasparotto to Sheldon. It's going to be very tough to get Warwick over at first. She was running hard out of the box. I think having those opportunities to play after college or at university, we see the continuation of these national teams, particularly an uptick in European national teams having representation within the NCAA. But also, it creates opportunities not just for playing opportunities, but for more coaches, more broadcasters, more opportunities. And, you know, I am a very, very small part of the European softball community. I know that, I accept that, and I'm very happy with my role in it. But I am a kid from Boston who lives in the United Kingdom calling the Softball World Cup in Italy. That's pretty cool. And it speaks to the idea that there are more opportunities to get involved in the sports of softball and baseball than just playing, although that is the primary driver.
Well, right, of course you want to play, but again, I love softball. It's something that's ingrained in me, in my blood. finishing, retiring 2 years ago, but here I am again back at home for me in Italy doing the same thing as you. So it's goals in different aspects of the game that we all love.
1-2 pitch, Maddie Scott strikes out. As runner stranded aboard for Australia. We head to the bottom of the second, 1-0. Australia leads, or trails Italy. Here at the WBSC Women's Softball World Cup Finals. Finals, last game of the placement round. Longy, Sheldon, and Koutsanopoulos. Bottom third of the lineup is due up here for Italy. Longy in from the right side. In the low stance, first pitch from Lamb misses down low for ball one. Longy so far batting .273 through this tournament. And there's 3 for 11. One extra base hit in the form of a double. That rain falling here in Castellones de Strada as the 1-0. Over the outside corner for a strike. Wind blowing in for the first time all tournament, really. Primarily the wind's been blowing out. We've seen that particularly helps teams like Italy, who have brought their power bats. Longy fouls that one back and out of play. Talking a little bit last half inning about the opportunity to stay involved in the sport of softball. And Fama, for someone who's making that career transition or has made that career transition towards coaching, I guess it also speaks to the need to have that coaching structure and to have that ability to help pass along this softball knowledge and skill to that youngest generation. And I see that smile on your face. Have to describe that for our viewers and listeners back home. I might have just landed on the $64,000 question there.
Well, no, I think most athletes, I don't know, speaking for myself, just so passionate about the game, is coaching is another way to be involved, as you said.
Line past the dive of the shortstop. Scott off her glove and into left field. That'll be a base hit for Longy. Leadoff runner aboard again for Italy.
You say Team Italy's captain again. Panda waiting on the ball. You see she doesn't even finish her swing, so she knows that she just has to kind of poke the ball in, and she does exactly that. And we talk about leadoff runners getting on, and here she is, and now it's up to the rest of the lineup to get them over and moved on and score some more runs on the board.
Showing bunt is Sheldon. She gets it down. Warwick in from third to field it. Now it goes from Warwick over to McManus at first. Second baseman covering. Up to second base on the sacrifice is Longy. Italy content to play small ball here, trying to manufacture a few runs.
Yeah, and keeping it simple again. Kind of traditional leadoff runner on, move her over. You see Sheldon not too antsy to get to first. You're towards the end of your lineup. You probably want to get to Dayton because she's been on fire. So great job from Sheldon doing her job and sacrificing herself with the small ball.
So that brings up Koutsanopoulos. First pitch to her in there for a strike. Batting out of the 9 spot today. Still looking for the first hit of that tournament. Lamb extends the arm, the 0-1. Just misses off the plate. Longy dancing off the bag at second and drawing the attention, but not the throw of McManus, second baseman. One and one the count, one down in the inning. Italy with a 1-0 lead. Lamb dials that one up. Koutsanopoulos can't catch up to it. And now time called. Just briefly. One ball, 2 strikes. Lamb kicks and deals. Just missing off the plate. Koutsanopoulos, well, she knew that one was close and that she might have gotten away with one there.
Good spot for Lamb, too. Again, you want to try and get Koutsanopoulos chasing, and she does Koutsanopoulos does a good job laying off, but even close in her eyes, it seemed.
2-2 though. And she swings through this one. First strikeout for Kendra Lamb. Second out of the inning. So that brings up Dayton for the second time today. She doubled on the first pitch she saw, came home on the RBI single by Barbara. And so far, she's the difference in this game. 1-0, Italy with the lead. Lamb ready to go. First pitch to Dayton. In there for a strike. Loney back at second. Cronus taking a little bit longer to call the pitch here. Only 4 seconds left on the pitch clock. And Lamb just gets the pitch off in time. Ball gets out of the glove of Tiscronis. And up to third base is Longy. And that's where the pitch clock can come into effect. Not just for the pitcher. But Lamb rushing that pitch home. And Tiscronis wasn't fully set up. I'd be shocked if that was anything but a passed ball.
Yeah, just nicks off the glove of Tiscronis again. Not really focused and dialed in as they would be if this was a medal game, medal contention game.
1-1 pitch coming, runner now at third. Dayton watches a pitch at the outside for ball 2. Likely to see a lot, if not all, of both these teams' rosters. That's the final game of the World Cup for both. 2 games tomorrow, both in the medal round as Dayton swings through that one. 5 p.m. local time. Third place game. It will be Canada hosting the Netherlands. As the Netherlands look for their first ever medal and the first ever medal for Europe. Meanwhile, in the nightcap, 8 p.m. local time. Those of you on the East Coast of the United States, that's 2 p.m. The United States and Japan will battle for the title of world champion. In the last 6 years is Tiscronis. Just, I think she managed to catch that one.
Well, it looked like Dan was out of the box. It looked like she got called out of the box, which I've been watching her. She's been creeping closer and closer towards that.
And yes, that is exactly what's happened here. So that will end the second inning with the runner at third base. We're through 2-1-0 Italy over Australia here at the WBSC Women's Softball World Cup Finals. Italy has left 3 runners on through the first 2 frames. We'll have that 1-0 lead. Wall Keevers, then the lineup resets with Michelle Cox as the first pitch from Nicolini in there for a strike. Jade Wall looking for that first hit. So far, been held out of the scorebook, although has scored a pair of runs, has walked 3 times as well. As this center fielder for Australia. 1-1 the count. Wall from Nambour in Queensland under the Australian Institute of Sport. Behind in the count here. 1 ball and 2 strikes. As Nicolini delivers. Count now even at 2. Two balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. As Nicolini delivers, this is popped up. Curving towards foul territory, making the catch Bianca Stelling, and that will be out number 1. Stelling hauling that in foul ground. Just in on the grass on the right field side. So 1 down in the inning for Shannon Keevers. Will step in for the first time from the left side. The blue pants white Australian Aboriginal design uniforms. As Keever slaps us out towards short. Good play by Sheldon to knock it down, but safe at first base is Keevers. As Sheldon had to make that play going across her body. She did a job just to get there and prevent that from trickling into the outfield. Keevers, nice job of placing that where the infielders weren't.
Yeah, Keevers swinging at the first pitch again, doing well, getting on. A little bit of a momentum shift with Dayton getting called out of the box, and a good stop by Sheldon. Again, in a situation like this, you're amped up, you want to throw it. Sometimes it's better not to, but again, making sure that the ball doesn't go past the infield to allow extra bases was a good job for Sheldon to lay out.
Runner at first base, one down. And 1-0 the count as Michelle Cox in from the left side. 1 for 1 in this one, but then erased on the double play. See on screen, the wind is whipping around, changing directions quite quickly. Nicolini steps and delivers. 3 balls, no strikes. Cox to take here. Australia needs to get base runners, needs to get runs any way they can. 4 runs through 4 games in this tournament, 3-0. And that's a strike. Nicolini delivers again. And that is a strike as well. Cox already a couple steps down the line towards first base. Instead now, the count runs full. Nicolini really trying to focus things in the corner of the strike zone. Foul back on the payoff pitch.
And Nicolini has a great mental game. I've talked about this before, how calm and collective she seems in the circle. You don't really know if you're winning, losing, if she's struggling or not. And she remembers everything from every hitter, and that's a huge advantage of it as a pitcher, not having to rely necessarily on your catcher or your staff.
Nicolini perfect with the pitch placement there. And she will strike out Cox looking. 3rd strikeout for Alice Nicolini, and the 2nd out here in the 3rd. Not much Cox could have done with that, even if she had made contact. And now, with 2 down, Stacey McManus steps in. She grounded into a 6-3 double play. And Sheldon showed off her defensive chops. That in the 1st inning. Nothing in 1 the count. Off the plate to even the count at 1. Australia battling Italy here. Final game of the placement round. Off and running there as Keevers. She'll have to return. Manus fouls that one off. Know that Puerto Rico will finish 5th in this tournament. The rest of the spots up for grabs based on what happens in this game. Australia win throws everything into disarray in the best way for the Aussies. This is lined right to Longy for the 3rd out. We'll talk a little bit more about how that works when we get back in the bottom of the 3rd. 1-0 Italy has lead over Australia here at the WBSC Women's Softball World Cup Finals. Erica Biancastelli leads things off here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Italy with the 1-0 advantage. 2, 3, and 4 hitters due up for the Italian side against Kendra Lamb. And the first pitch into Biancastelli is a strike. Chris Noveluk joined by Amanda Fama, 2020 Olympian for this Italian softball team. Bianca Stelli walked in her first at bat. Game known internationally not just for her softball prowess, but also as a member of the New York Yankees, with a small asterisk for the Home Run Derby X competition, or I can be so bold as to put this into British pronunciation, Home Run Derby X. Yankees winning that competition. Bianca Stelli contributing to that, along with former Yankee Nick Swisher, as this is lined out towards left field. That's a base hit. And Amanda, that's one of the ways that the game of softball is starting to increase visibility here in Europe and around the world. The involvement of those softball players in an event like Home Run Derby X with Major League Baseball, and more integration between the two sports. Certainly something we're seeing across the world at different national levels.
Yeah, Bianca Stelli, not just for Italy, but again, all of Europe is kind of that role model, and because of the things she's doing for softball in Europe, like the Home Run Derby, what a great event. But also down in Mexico, the new Mexican league that I coached in partnered with their baseball teams, and that's how they're also making the sport grow. You're talking about between baseball and softball and partnering with MLB and stuff, and so just more opportunities for softball, whether or not it's related to the baseball in that country or not. But again, so many more opportunities coming, and Erica Bianca Stelli, I think, making that more known, and all the girls that follow her and the athletes that follow her, she's one person that solely, I think, is helping the sport grow.
And you talk a little bit about the professional playing opportunities as Barbara swings through that pitch. League down in Mexico, the announcement that Athletes Unlimited will be launching their own league next year. Of course, they also have the point-based, player-based scoring system. Teams like the Oklahoma City Spark, leagues like WPF, all starting to bring the game to a more professional base, certainly in North America, joining the leagues already in existence here in Europe, and certainly in Asia as well, particularly in South Korea and Japan.
Well, you think about, sorry to cut you off, I'm just thinking, you think about it too, of what softball is and leading towards an Olympic sport now, hopefully for after 2028, but there's not too many options.
Popped up on the infield. Calling it off is Trim. It would be Trim who makes the catch, but she runs into her own catcher, Tiscaronis. And Tiscaronis is quite unhappy down on the ground. Trim able to make that catch, but a breakdown of communication there for the Aussie infield. Trim coming all the way from first. It is her ball as the first baseman. But as she proceeded forward, she just ran right into Taylor Tiscaronis, who at least seems to be in good spirits now.
She's been taking a beating this week.
She really has.
A couple balls to her throwing hand, I think, pop back.
It seems to be every tournament, there seems to be one catcher, or when I worked in ice hockey, it was one goalie, who just gets an inordinate amount of the abuse.
Can't catch a break.
Taylor, congratulations. You get that award this week. I don't know what you've done to deserve it, but you've gotten it.
Well, and that's interesting, too, where our view is limited with how high that ball went. But Tiscaronis, more or less, it was a few feet from her, and I'm interested to see if there was a lot of spin on the ball playing a factor, maybe it's spinning back towards foul territory, like in the towards third base or the wind.
As you mentioned the height, just looking up from our vantage point, we're relatively close to where that play took place. I wonder if that wasn't perhaps caught in the lights for Tiscaronis. So she was a little bit light-blinded looking up at the lights. Meanwhile, Jenna Trim had a fair shot at it because she wasn't staring into the lights and ended up bulldozing her own catcher.
Or Warwick, too. Warwick, a bit of a different angle at it. But again, that's a far run for Trim at first. And again, if that ball's kind of spinning backwards, Tiscaronis, if she has a better view of it and can be in foul territory, if they miss that ball, then it's just a foul ball. But an interesting play that I'm sure Tiscaronis wants back now that she's all beaten up and dirt to the face from it. But I think we're...
It's somewhat appropriate that the Australian color uniforms incorporate black and blue.
We're seeing some interesting plays, I think, that rate.
It has been a very warm week. We are at the end of that week. There are 4 teams still in contention. These 2 teams are in contention for placement points. But this is normally where, in a tournament, things start to go a little bit weird. The count goes nothing in 2.
We saw that last night with Team Italy, and again, no doubt are these teams tired. These athletes are tired.
And I'll actually go one step forward on the tired part. So Italy's played every single game in the nightcap. That makes perfect sense as the host nation. It brings the largest crowd. We've had about 8,000 fans for the Italian game, so that's been fantastic. Australia, meanwhile, has yet to win a game, and they are the only team to play in every single time slot. Them's the breaks.
I believe it was yesterday's game. You could just see the exhaustion on their faces as they go extra innings, too.
Popped up. Shortstop Scott will haul it in fair territory, or out number 2. And Filler is retired. And it does also speak to something that I think isn't always known about softball teams, and that is just how good-natured the teams themselves are. The environment in the dugout. Today in particular has been quite a loud day. You've been hearing on the broadcast a lot of the teams rallying behind their teammates. China in particular has been silent all week, and we heard them throughout the entire broadcast earlier. So it's interesting to see that we're starting to get all this personality. Perhaps some of these teams could have used it a little bit earlier in the week, but you are starting to see that. And that's something that, particularly in the softball world, for those who haven't worked in the environment, haven't been in that environment, you may not be able to see, but it's a huge part of what makes softball so special.
Yeah, absolutely. And each team has their own things. Some are loud, some cheer, some dance.
Some are an inflatable kangaroo in the dugout.
I love that thing. I've tried to steal it plenty of times.
You know, with the greatest respect, Amanda, if you're going to steal something from a team, that one might stand out.
They actually gave me one, and I've kept that thing when we played down there in the SummerSlam, which, again, Team Italy has a very close relationship with Australia because of our former head coach, Enrico, who passed away, and giving both teams those opportunities to go play down in Australia and play in the SummerSlam, where it was different. There were 6, I think, different teams mixed of each country, with Australia, Italy, and Chinese Taipei. The inaugural season, the Fury, my team, happened to win. Kaya Parnaby, Whiteman. We were known as the prettiest team. I just have to note that. But again, just giving opportunities.
Objectively the prettiest team. I should throw that out there.
They wanted to make sure that I said that. But again, just making opportunities to see how other teams work. Chinese Taipei, we could not communicate. We didn't want to use the translator. But again, just the environment, the passion, all bringing us together for the sport was something special. And again, Tamika Whitefield, just the incredible thing that we had in common was softball. And you see that as these teams are finishing this tournament, they've been working for 3, 4, maybe even a month together.
This lined right at Claire Ward, who will haul it in for out number 3. That will retire the side. Another hit for Italy, another runner stranded on. They've stranded on 4 through 3. Take their 1-0 lead to the 4th inning here at the WBSC Women's Softball World Cup Finals. High of 37 earlier today. Tells you how much the weather's changed. Wind blowing in from center field. As we head to the fourth inning, 1-0. Italy has the lead. And Kayla Tissachronis will line this out to left field. It is a fair ball. Ricochets into the wall. Tissachronis into second base. She slides in there safely. Ball trickles away. Gasparotto backs her up as you hear the Australian dugout come alive. A leadoff double for Kayla Tissachronis, although with her current luck, of course, she had to find a way to inevitably bang herself up as she slid into the bag and whacked her glove hand in doing so. So she'll be at second base. Jenna Trim now up. First pitch misses, ball one. Trim from North Curl, New South Wales. Went to the University of New Mexico. And ahead in the count now, 2-0. Seen her a lot as the designated player, but playing over at first base today. Fellini struggling with her command here. 3 straight balls to Trim. Tamika Whitefield waits on deck. Strike in there. And there's Trim taking a couple steps to first base. She will now retreat back to the batter's box. Batter's box certainly showing a few signs of wear and tear at this point. The dirt quite powdery in both of the boxes. This is grounded towards short. Up with it is Sheldon. They've now got Tissachronis in the rundown. Heading for second is Trim. She will get there, and now Tissachronis doesn't have a place to go. And knowing that, she will collide. I believe that's with Melanie Sheldon, and Sheldon is down, so Tissachronis is retired. Trim into second base on what is effectively a fielder's choice. And Tissachronis is retired. Melanie Sheldon, she opted to go to third base. And Nicolini. And finally, tag applied by Sheldon. Got a bit of a shoulder tackle there, and Tissachronis wants a career in Aussie Rules football.
Tissachronis and trying to do too much. Kind of the rule of thumb if you're a runner on second base, if the ball's hit to the shortstop, if it's hit to their left, more up the middle, generally you go to third. If it's hit to the right, you wait to see if there's a throw. That ball not hit too far to the left for Sheldon. She kind of just hopped in place, so not really the ball Tissachronis wants to go on. And then you see her, I think, in a pickle, just getting frustrated again. Not the tournament she wanted at all. And we talk about kind of that one player on a team that's constantly getting hurt. It's going to be Melanie Sheldon for Team Italy. Constantly. So again,
nice of them to have that moment together.
Yeah, but again, the frustration, I think, getting the best of Tissachronis there and getting Tamika Whitefield in not the best situation, or a missed opportunity instead of having a runner on first and second possibly, or a runner on second with no outs. Now you have a good hitter up to bat with 1 out.
So Whitefield bats for the first time. The out goes 6-5, 4-1-6. Shortstop to third base to second, as this is grounded out to Sheldon. A nice throw from her to first to get Whitefield. That is out number 2. So that will bring Claire Warwick to the plate. Up to third base is Jenna Trim.
With more or less kind of a similar type of hit, but because it's not hit as hard, Trim's able to advance to third, and Sheldon, good recovery, because once you get kind of knocked in the jaw, you're a little rattled.
I was going to say, and Jenna Trim has a decent amount of mass herself. If I'm Melanie Sheldon, I'm thinking that might happen again, and I'm making the throw to first. We've got the final out there, a ground ball out to second, bottled briefly, I should say, by Gasparotto. But then she recovers to retire this side. So another hit for Australia and another runner stranded aboard. We are through the first 3.5 innings. The score 1-0 Italy over 1-0. Italy has the lead over Australia. As Lisa Cicchetti, Julia Longy, and Melanie Sheldon will bat here in the fourth, looking to add to the lead. Andrew Lamb has calmed things down. Runners left on base. Once again, a story for both these two teams. Australia's left 3 on through 4. 4 on through 3 for Italy. That really has been the story of this tournament for both sides. Have been somewhat offensively challenged, although Australia to a much larger extent. Australia has only scored 4 runs in the previous 4 games they've played. 1-0. This is outside. Ball 2. Andrew Lamb. ERA of 250 in this tournament. 1 strikeout through her first 3 innings of work. As this is fouled back. Screening out of play. The 2 games tomorrow. Featuring the 4 teams coming out of the Super Round. And the Netherlands for the bronze medal. The United States and Japan for the title of world champion. The U.S. winning in 2018 at the last World Cup as this is flared out toward right field, hooking foul. The United States also winning at the 2022 World Games in Birmingham, Alabama. In between in Tokyo, the host side, the home side, Japan, winning gold there. This almost a tiebreaker in terms of who will be the rightful world champion. Nice to see the variety of tournaments in which the title has been handed out, especially without the Olympic Games featuring softball this year in Paris. And Amanda, coming off an Olympics that you played in, to not have softball in the Olympic Games this year, what does that mean to you, knowing that it's just missing an Olympics and it isn't a permanent thing, but has been used, well, we'll moderate our language here, but softball's been in and out. It has been not a permanent member of the Olympic family, let's say.
Yeah, let's, no, I think it's frustrating because, again, it's something that we work so hard for, all the athletes, no matter what country you're for. You have the Women's College World Series in the United States, and that's one of the most watched.
This is lined out towards left field. Reaching up is Cox. She has it for out number 1.
But going back, the Women's College World Series is one of the most watched college sports. And so it's really, no one really understands why it's not in it. And so it's in it, it's out, it's in it, it's out. 2 years, 3 years, or 3 sets of Olympics. It's frustrating because that's what athletes strive for. And if softball would have been in Paris 2024, maybe
allegedly we're still in 2024.
But no, if they would have been in Paris 2024, that gives an opportunity for other athletes. And I'm just thinking for myself, I potentially would still be playing, trying to strive for a different type of Olympic experience. And so it's frustrating, and it's a missed opportunity, and it's not a for sure thing.
Out towards left field, and a nice play made by Cox as that ball was dying a bit, but she's able to haul it in. And I think the other thing that I'd bring up, yes, it could have extended your career, and which would have been great as well, but also it's that having that visibility that's local. And yeah, local doing a little bit of heavy lifting as a term. You say local for Paris, sitting here in Italy, but it's the same time zone. It is an hour and a half long plane ride, or a bit of a longer train trip. It is within reach. And I think even if to have that physically within reach, both from a I can attend standpoint, but also for those athletes looking to, it does wonders in terms of growing the game.
Well, yeah, and I think that there's so many teams that are so, for the most part, even, so many countries that are even in this sport, that it would be, and it always is, such a great performance from all the teams at the Olympic Games. It's something that obviously I think deserves to be in it, but I think it speaks for itself for the people that watch it, the entertainment that comes from it. So you're going to get me just really frustrated if we keep talking about this, because I think it's a sport that deserves to be in it worldwide.
So why don't we take that then, and rather than frustrate you, we look towards the future. We've got 3 teams here, with Japan, as this pitch misses away, who just hosted the Olympics that you played at. We have the United States, who are hosting in 2028. We know that softball in the Olympic Games there. And then we have a team on the field right now in Australia, where 2032 Brisbane and Queensland will be hosting the Olympics, and a potential inclusion of softball there as well. So, for all of the detriments and the challenges that it's been to have softball, this happens to be a very good moment for future Olympic inclusion. We head now to the 5th inning. The score 1-0, Italy over Australia, the WBSC Women's Softball World Cup Finals. As the rain continues to fall here in Castellones de Estrada, the end of Fama, my color commentator, Chris Knobloch here with you. The final game of the placement round. Keep round wrapping up last game with the Netherlands falling to the United States 7-0 in 4+ innings. Not even really the 5. Walk-off win there for the United States. 1-1 here. And the count runs to 2-1. Madison Scott, 1-for-1, struck out in her first at-bat. 1 of 3 strikeouts for Alice Nicolini. Left-hander continues to work in the Italian circle. 2-1, chopped towards first base. It is foul. Well, Fuller took it to the bag just to be sure anyway. You obviously have quite the relationship with a number of the women on this Italian team, Amanda. Talk a little bit about their mindset and what they'll take away from this tournament, finishing in this placement round one way or another, as striking out is Scott, down by way of the K the second time today.
Chris, I think that no matter where they finish now after the last couple days, it's been hard for them, but it's just proof that they can compete with the top teams in the world. They're taking Canada. That game was incredible. And so there's been kind of this doubt in this transition period, but they've been working towards building a core team again, a team that we had in 2020 and now transferring over a transition. And I think their takeaway is, I think they found their core. Dayton being a leader, Nicolini being a leader in the circle, they're starting to form that team again, and that's all that you can really focus on at this point. And we see that happening with the Netherlands, and they've worked on that, and you see Australia building that, maybe not quite there, but again, going back to what the outtake can be from this is that Team Italy is strong, they're getting stronger, and even though where they finished doesn't depict that, they need to find the positive in what they did and know that they're on their way to what their goal was.
And Italy, and you've also mentioned the Netherlands, is skied out towards right field. John Castelli settles under it for out number 2. You mentioned those two teams. Both happen to be European, and both actually have the opportunity to have short memories. Just 5 weeks away. Hard to say that, especially given what my other job is, but just 5 weeks away from the European Championships in Utrecht in the Netherlands once this tournament wraps up tomorrow.
And I think for the Netherlands and Italy that are here, the European teams, it's going to be not only the European Championship that's big, but for Team Italy, that's where we qualified. You know, a lot of emotion there. For Team Holland, the Netherlands, that's where they lost. And I know that that was heartbreaking for them. Girls struggled with that. So as much as you don't want to think about something like that when you're playing at the same field against Team Italy, it's going to come up. So again, not only the European Championship, you want to be the champions of of Europe, of course, but that's going to be in the back of everyone's mind, kind of. And it can be a positive and a negative, of course, depending on which team you're on.
And of course, this is not meant to be the Great Britain Power Hour. For those unaware, I do work for the Great Britain national team, but the two teams mentioned before, Italy, Netherlands, they've had that experience, but also the first time really being pushed by a third team in form of Great Britain. Great Britain coming second in the last European Championship, Italy third, and the Netherlands first. With that challenge coming from another nation, it could have been any other nation, it happens to be Great Britain in this scenario, but that fundamentally changes the continent's structure, and we will see that happen with other continental structures. We'll see that happen in South America. We'll see that happen potentially in Asia as well, where these monolithic teams, in particular, you look at a Canada and a United States, you look at a Japan, you look at, although they're not here at this tournament, South Korea, you look at a Mexico, you look at a Puerto Rico, you look at these teams that you expect to be in the Softball World Cup, and you're starting to see the teams filtering into the continental championships that you wouldn't necessarily guess are hotbeds of softball.
Well, right, you brought up Team Mexico, another team that I'm close with, but kind of an Olympic team at that, but they're also in this transition stage, and they have the Mexican League down there now, where last year they focused on giving opportunities to the Mexican citizens, which is great, and that's what you want, and those athletes to be able to excel, but now realizing you do need to start to bring in those American athletes, those European athletes, because that's where the experience is.
And by American athletes, sorry to interrupt you, we mean American-based or North American-based
yes,
athletes.
Right.
That often comes up, particularly as a sensitive subject within Europe with passport holders. And as one of those aforementioned passport holders, I know that's particularly something you've had to deal with. But we do mean North American-based, where they have the infrastructure, where they have that set up. Apologies, didn't want to interrupt, but I think that's an important clarification.
That is very good. But again, going to the point of, yes, those teams are starting to change on who's dominating and stuff like that. But going back to kind of what we've been talking about this whole night, whole game, is opportunities in places that it's really never been. And that's how we see the sport grow again.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. As this is chopped towards first base by Keevers. Taylor takes it to the back herself. This side is retired. Australia down in order. We're through 5. The score 1-0 Italy over Australia. The Women's Softball World Cup Final. WBSC Women's Softball World Cup Finals. Tomorrow we will crown a world champion. World Cup for the first time since 2018. Of course, COVID-19 certainly interrupting, I'd say, the softball world, but that might be underselling it ever so slightly. With great respect to the sport that we all love, word softball not necessarily needed in that sentence. That's why we've had the World Champions and the Olympics at 3 different events. 2 different champions named. Gold medalists, Japan. Champions, United States. Tomorrow, they'll battle it out for supremacy. Koutsanopoulos, 1-1 the count to her. Struck out on a 2-2 pitch in the 3rd inning. Showing bunt here. She will send that one foul towards the Australian on deck circle.
Good idea, because we were just talking, not much has happened. This game is kind of stuck. So Koutsanopoulos has been struggling hitting, tends to struggle internationally, but does extremely well at the college level. But her asset when she struggles is speed. So a surprise bunt, a really good idea. Not able to get it down, but again, something needs to happen from one of these sides to get this game moving a little bit.
That won't be it, as Koutsanopoulos goes fishing for a fastball away. Lamb is her 3rd strikeout, which 2 have been Koutsanopoulos. The other one, Melanie Sheldon. The lineup has gone down by way of the K. So now with 1 out, Isabella Dayton steps in. 0-4-1. She doubled to lead off the game, then stepped out of the batter's box. Called out to end the second. She is very quick. Talked about her speed at length. And that's what got her in trouble in the second inning. She's a little bit too quick out of the box.
And really since then, Italy hasn't done much. So that's, again, thriving off one person, being a leader offensively. But that's how those crucial little things, again, given there's really no box, hard to see. But that's how those little things can kind of change a game. If Australia can get their bats going, they're only down by one. So it's a very close game still.
And certainly, while one run does feel a bit insurmountable for Australia, we've talked about their offensive challenges this week. By no means is. They trailed in yesterday's game. In fact, they trailed 1-0 to China up until the bottom of the fifth. So they scored. Neither team would then score until the ninth, before China put up 3 in the top of the 10th to win that game. 1-2 to Dayton, swung on and missed. And back-to-back strikeouts. Now has 4 on the evening. That is 2 down for Biancastelli.
And big strikeout at that, going up just a little bit. We've talked about Dayton getting on and being successful with the rest of the team, but huge strikeout from Lamb. And again, you try to find momentum and motivation in anything, and I think striking out Dayton on a big swing is going to be that thing if they can rally around it.
Castelli takes a ball outside. He has reached base twice. Walked in the first, singled to lead off the third. We've said not a lot has happened over the past couple of innings. Well, Italy hasn't had the leadoff runner on since the third. Biancastelli grounds out to McManus at second, and that retires the side. The last 9 Italian batters have gone down in order, and we are through 5. 1-0 Italy over Australia. We're watching the WBSC Women's Softball World Cup Finals here on GameTime.Sport. Top of the order due up for Australia in the 6th inning. They trail by 1. Italy with the 1-run advantage here, 1-0. Chris Knobloch joined by Amanda Fama. Top of the order, as mentioned, for Australia. Cox, McManus, and Tiscaronis due up for the Aussie Spirit. As this is chopped foul. Australia 4 hits in this one. Same for Italy, but Italy's pushed across the run. No errors for Australia in this one. They have tightened up their defense. That has been an issue for them in this tournament. Able to have so far an error-free game behind Kendra Lamb. 0-2. Pitch over the head of Cox. Ball 1. Alice Nicolini doing the pitching for Italy. 4 strikeouts through the first 5 innings of work. He's pitched quite well. As the 1-2 just misses to even the count. Nicolini gets the sign she likes. Delivers. Cox fouls this one back and out of play. Count remains 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cox singled in the first inning to lead off the game. 1 for 2 overall. She's also struck out looking in this one. Nicolini steps the 2-2. Called third strike. Down looking again is Michelle Cox. 5th strikeout for Alice Nicolini. And that is the first out of the 6th.
Good job going away. Can see Cox struck out on that pitch before, expecting something inside and too close to let it go. But again, that's how you kind of know, and like I've been saying, Nicolini knows these batters, given the good relationship. A lot of these Australian athletes play over in Italy, but again, she's got like a photographic memory. It's insane. I can go up to her and be like, hey, what did Cox do in 2008? And she would know, and it's incredible. And that plays such a good part in a pitcher because, again, sometimes you go in, you ask your pitching coach, but she can do all that by herself, and especially with a good relationship with her catcher, but it's like phenomenal.
I'm afraid I don't have a softball reference for it, but it's almost that Greg Maddux-esque ability to recall. And the reason why I use Maddux as the comp there, Nicolini also has that pinpoint level of control where it's about control and memory of what those batters have done directly play into where she'll locate the ball in the future.
Well, right, and she learns from her mistakes. I've sat there and watched her throw BP and throw BP, and she wants to perfect it because that's her mentality. But going back to her memory, like when I would be playing at shortstop, if she's not pitching, she would be the person I'm looking to in the dugout, telling me what pitch was hit, who was throwing, all the information I needed. She was pretty much my Synergy Sports in a sense, but again, an incredible asset overall.
Check swing. Liana Sosajima says she did not swing with McManus. So the count runs full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. 1 down in the inning. Italy up 1-0. Off pitch from Nicolini. Ball 4. That inside very nearly hit McManus. That is the first Australian base runner since the leadoff batter of the 4th. That brings Taylor Tiscaronis to the plate. She doubled in her last at bat and was retired on the fielder's choice. And the shoulder tackle of Melanie Sheldon. First pitch to her. In for a strike.
You get a lot of emotions in this game, not because what the outcome can be, but you're playing with your team. You've been working so hard in training. Again, a month, 5 weeks, leaving home, a lot plays into that. And so not ending where you want to end, a lot of emotions at that. And you can tend to struggle if you can't cope with that, if you can't control your emotions.
1-1 the count. This is off the plate, 2 balls and a strike. Now, to pull back the curtain a little bit, research for this World Cup can be quite a challenge, not knowing the rosters until, in this case, the midnight before the game, the first game, and make it quite a challenge to do your research. However, Taylor Tiscaronis has my favorite nugget of research. She did an interview with one of the local Australian federations back in 2018, at which point she told them, and I can only assume she told them this in an interview, that she makes a delicious creme brulee. And if you Google her name, I think that's like the 4th or 5th thing that pops up. And you know what? If people Google my name and that's the 4th or 5th thing that pops up, it's not true, mind you, in my situation, but I'd be fine if that's the 4th or 5th thing that pops up.
One, probably being an amazing, successful Olympian at that. I know she just got married again, making this difficult. You're leaving your family, the sacrifices you make to be here and struggling, and the creme brulee, that just sounds amazing at this point.
Well, it's a good country to come to if you're looking for a good creme brulee as well. She pops out to Longheath for out number 2. Sadly, I don't have the same type of fact for Jenna Trim. So that thus ends dessert talk here on Game Time.
Right. Try to get the fun facts from the girls, and they don't want to give it to me.
First pitch from Nicolini. This is hammered out towards center field, hooking away from the center fielder, Koutsanopoulos. It will get down and roll all the way to the wall. Being waved around is McManus. This throw is in time, and McManus called out at the plate. Liana Sosajima covering the plate from first base. And we will have a video review here, as both teams will remain on the field.
Not sure Jenna Trim wants anything else said at that bat besides it was right. Goes straight into Cicchetti foot. She's dead in the water, so getting around, kind of a slide by as we call it, nicking that back corner of the plate is what got her safe, and we see how close that was, but a great job from Trim driving it into the gap, and now the score is tied.
Substitution again. It's now Shaylin Watman will bat back in her original spot. Substituting for Tamika Whitefield. A game-changing play. 1-1 the score. Wattman with a hit in this one. 1-for-1. That's a first pitch strike. Second base is Jenna Trim, representing the go-ahead run. Wattman swings through that one, 1-2 the count. One to one the score. Australia tying it in the top half of the 6th inning. RBI double by Jenna Trim. Video review to get it right. And a clear cut. Very quick use of the video review, which has been phenomenal. We have to keep saying that during these broadcasts, because video review often maligned in other sports. Not here. It has been very, very easy. And really it certainly has not detracted at all from the viewing experience. Dare I say, it may have even enhanced it. 2-2 the count, 2 down, runner at second base, 1 run home. Pitch coming to Wattman. She swings over that one, and that will retire the side, but not before Australia ties it. RBI double by Jenna Trim to score Stacey McManus. We head to the bottom half of the 6th. 1-1 Australia and Italia here at the WBSC Women's Softball World Cup Finals. Up for Italy against Kendra Lamb. What is an all-new ball game? 1-1 the score. First pitch from Lamb is chopped back up towards second. Stacey McManus has it. Fires to first. 1 pitch, 1 out. That's the start Kendra Lamb needed here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. So Barber retired. Andrea Filler up. 0-for-1. Also a sacrifice bunt to her credit. Now coming in the 1st inning. Italy scoring in that inning. RBI single by Mackenzie Barbara to score Isabella Dayton. They had led wire to wire up until the last half inning. Australia tying things. RBI double for Jenna Trim. Score Stacey McManus. Australia looking for their first win of this tournament. They'd love to finish things here in Italy on a positive. 1-0 coming. Hammered out towards center field and deep. Going back is Wall. She's looking up. It's off the base of the wall. Into second base is Filler. As Wall took an odd route to that ball. And it ends up landing right in front of the video board, but right at the base of the warning track.
Yeah, not sure if the wind is still playing a factor in it, but like you said, an odd route. Doesn't really track the ball well at all. If she's able to get under it more, kind of, I think, loses it as the ball drops and she seems to be surprised. But again, the momentum shift with Trim's double and scoring a run. Again, I think that play could have been an out. And now a big momentum shift for Italy and a big missed opportunity to get Filler out there from Australia.
So now Gasparotto with 1 down, runner in scoring position. The go-ahead potential winning run at second base. Australia in the 7th inning will have Warwick, Scott, and Wall due up. And they would very much prefer not to have to come from behind yet again. As we will now have a visit to the pitching circle and Kendra Lamb. We have a moment here. Just a reminder of tomorrow's action. Just the 2 games left in this tournament. Games 21 and 22 for those of you playing along at home. Game number 21, the bronze medal game, 5 o'clock local time. That will be 11 a.m. East Coast time in the United States. That will be the Netherlands versus Canada for the bronze medal. And at 8 p.m. local time, 2 p.m. in the afternoon East Coast time in the United States, the United States will take on Japan for the title of world champion. Ellen Roberts comes in. We will step aside. Pitching change coming to you from Castells de Strada, 1-1 Australia and Italy, here on GameTime.Sport.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a pitching change for Team Australia. Replacing number 33, Kendra Lam. The new pitcher is number 6, Evan Roberts. Seconda base, pitch runner Alessandra Rotondo.
Kendra Lamb's night, and therefore tournament is done. She departs after 5 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, and 1 earned run. Responsible for the runner at second is now Alessandra Rotondo, pinch runner for Andrea Filler. And Marta Gasparotto will deal with Ellen Roberts into the game. First pitch from her, in for a strike. Roberts, right-handed pitcher. And with the right-handed Gasparotto. 1-1. This is up and away. Ball 2. Native of Wesley, New South Wales. Attended the University of Memphis, did Roberts. 32 years old. Is the right-hander. He's behind in the count, 2-1. Delivers here. Gasparotto swings over that, and count evens at 2. So far in this tournament, Roberts an 0-1 record. This her 4th game. Has started 6 innings, pitched 4 earned runs, 5 strikeouts across that span. 2-2 coming. This is up and away and runs the count full. Cicchetti waits on deck for Italy. Looking to retake the lead. And had it for the entirety of the game after the bottom of the first. Just up until this last half inning. Payoff pitch. Fouled off the hands. He will do it again.
Also something we've seen, a lot of teams don't give up. A lot of comebacks, a lot of back and forth. Even though Australia doesn't have the record they want, they've been coming back, as we've seen, and then Italy coming back as well. So those fights, those battles, that's what we like, and that's World Cup softball.
Payoff pitch from Roberts again. Foul back behind us and out of play. Certainly these later innings have been much more active across certainly these last couple of days, but in general, some late inning drama here. And that makes a lot of sense with these games being so close, these teams being so close. Now technically 17 spots in the rankings. Those are the WBSC Konami World Rankings. Separate the teams between the United States at number 1 and China at 17. Those world rankings not perhaps indicative of the quality of softball we've seen.
Well, yeah, China's game today, I think, impressed everyone. Again, you hear about the rankings and you expect something different, but they came out and put on a show and showed that they deserve to be here at the World Cup.
So runners at first and second. 1 down. Roberts misses up and away. At the plate, 0 for 2. Pair of lineouts, both to the left side, 1 to left field, and 1 to the shortstop, Madison Scott.
Well, these two know each other pretty well, and so it's going to be interesting. Roberts going up, that's her bread and butter, as you would say. Cicchetti catching Ellen Roberts at one point in their careers. So again, these are the battles that I love personally because they know each other. They know their strengths, they know their weaknesses, how Lisa swings, how Ellen pitches. But since then, they've both improved. So it's like a battle of a testament of who's going to pull it off, I guess.
Now I'm going to have to pull you up on one thing that you've just said there. Would it be Roberts' bread and butter, or would it be olive oil and butter here in Italy?
Well, it depends on if you're in Italy or if you're in Australia. It might be, what is it, Vegemite? Vegemite in the...
Hopefully Vegemite doesn't end up in that same category. That might cause some problems.
That might be.
And that noise you hear is all of our angry Australian fans writing in letters. For what it's worth, those of us who have family in Australia have tried Vegemite. It's not worth it. It's not great. I don't like it. 3-1 then count to Cicchetti. Out to Skronis, out to speak with Roberts. They will determine the next pitch in the form of a conference. Italy threatening here in the bottom of the 6th inning. 2 on and 1 out in a 1-1 ball game. Roberts begins her motion and delivers. That pitch is a strike, and Cicchetti is a third of the way to first base. He will now have to retreat as the count runs full, and always a bit of a risk to do that as a catcher, especially when you then have to sit behind the dish relatively shortly afterwards. Payoff pitch coming from Roberts, hammered down the third base line, and it is foul. That was absolutely torched by Cicchetti. It is a foul ball. That might have been the hardest hit ball we've seen all day. That includes the extra base hits. That was absolutely slammed down the line. Let's take a look at the replay. It's very clearly foul. Landed in foul territory. Landed in left field. With the speed of it, shocked everybody. So we'll have the payoff pitch again. Runners take their leads now. Grounded right back up the middle, ranging over is McManus to second for 1, to first, and she will get the double play, and this Australian team is fired up. Double play turned by Australia. We're through 6 innings. The score 1-1 between Australia and Italy at the WBSC Women's Softball World Cup Finals. Seventh inning, 1-1 the score. Claire Warwick will step in for Australia. Warwick, Scott, and Wall due up. Tie ball game. Australia tying things in the top half of the 6th, where Italy took a 1-0 lead. In the bottom of the 1st, Chris Knobloch joined by Amanda Fama here on GameTime.Sport, the WBSC Women's Softball World Cup Finals. We will have the championship final tomorrow night, 8 o'clock local time here in Italy. After the bronze medal game at 5 p.m. Hope you'll be able to join us here on GameTime.Sport. Make sure to check WBSC.org for all the news, notes, stats from this tournament, and all the updates on tomorrow's games as well. Warwick takes strike 2, 1 ball, 2 strikes the out. Nicolini ready to go. 1-2 pitch from her. Hammered down the third base line, but foul. At the 102nd pitch from Alice Nicolini. 64 of them for strikes. Kendra Lamb threw 81 pitches, which 48 were in the zone. And Roberts then came in, threw 14 pitches, 8 for strikes. Count remains 1-2. Nicolini delivers. Check swing. Check over at first base. She did not go. Count now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Warwick, captain of this team, hammers this down the left field line and deep. Looking up is Dayton. That ball is foul. As Warwick really put a charge into that one. Nothing Dayton could do. And it just curled foul. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. And this time Warwick will reach for it and sends this right back up the middle, causing it neatly into center field. A base hit, leadoff runner aboard. Go ahead run for Australia.
And a great at bat from Warwick. She drives that ball over the fence, but foul. Experience helps because she knows she's probably not going to get another pitch that she could drive like that. Nicolini knows Warwick very well. So she just places the ball. Even though she's out in front of it, she's able to hit it hard enough, again, to just kind of bloop it in. As much as you want to hit the ball over the fence, after something like that, you're probably not going to get to the pitch to do that. So good job. The captains, I think, have really stepped up for their teams throughout this tournament as well.
Warwick replaced on the base paths by Pippa Adkins. Is now stepping in Madison Scott. 0 for 2, pair of strikeouts.
Number 18, Madison Scott.
Nicolini has 6 on the day, all of which, well, 2 of which coming against Scott. This bunt goes foul. This was bobbled a little bit by the Italian defense. Luck on their side this time, nothing won the count. Nicolini ready to go, infield in at the corners. Going bunt is Scott, and this time it hits her in the hand. On the swing, it will be a foul ball. She very much punched at it. But when they say you're supposed to punch at it, that doesn't mean you are physically supposed to punch the ball. That is very much, yep, what Madison Scott opted to do there. That was on her bottom hand. 0-2 pitch coming. This is grounded softly out toward short. Sheldon up with it. Throw is not in time. Heading for third base is now Adkins, who can fly. And the go-ahead run 60 feet away as Adkins goes first to third on a little nubber out toward short. Let's take a look at the replay. That barely made it past the pitching circle. Sheldon had to charge in. And as Adkins can fly, some good heads-up base running. She ends up at third base with no outs in the inning.
Those are the worst, the ones that just hit off the cap or the end of the bat and catch you off guard. You see Sheldon kind of get stuck, and that's, again, adding pressure. She has to charge it, like you said, fill her at first. It's kind of already in her stretch because it's going to be a bang-bang play, but with her already being in her stretch, if the throw's offline a little bit, she's not going to be that athletic and able to get it, and that's what happens with the throw slightly off from Sheldon. But again, the Aussies' spirit is taking control of this game, coming back, being aggressive on the bases when they need to be too. So a little spark in them after Trim's hit earlier.
We will step away now. Pitching change for Italy as Christina Toniolo enters the game. Australia threatening. Runners on the corners. Nobody out here. Top of the 7th inning at the WBSC Women's Softball World Cup Finals. Jade Wall will bat here. Number 8 hitter in this Australian lineup. As it is Christina Toniolo into the game. Relief of Alice Nicolini. Nicolini, 6 innings pitched, blessed. 7 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, the 1 earned run, but she's responsible for both runners on the corners. As Toniolo, right-hander, will face Jade Wall. First pitch, misses, ball 1.
And a tough situation for Italy to be in. No outs, runners on first and third. I've emphasized a few times how difficult this first and third play is. If the runner does go, so many options to that. You can cut the ball, you can let the ball go down, but then you have the runner at third if they're going to go or not. I know most teams struggle with it because it's not a bang-bang play. It's not routine. It's you have to think on your feet. So Australia's in a really good position here.
2-0 pitch coming. Just misses off the plate. 3-0 now the count. Nolo in a tough position. 3.65 ERA in this tournament. 3-0 pitch. Drops in for a strike. I'll look for Jade Wall to get the green light here. Hitters count. Hitters on the corners. Any ball in play is helpful for Australia here. Even a double play gives them that crucial lead. 3-1. This is lined right back up the middle. That's a base hit, and Australia will take the lead. Coming in to score is Adkins. The throw comes in, but not in time. RBI single, Jade Wall. And Australia leads 2-1.
Doing well, like you said, just needing to put the ball in play because there's so many options. Even a double play would allow Australia to score, and Wall doing an amazing job putting the ball in play, because we talk about, again, how many a tied game, last game of the night, last game of the tournament, clutching up and lowering that stat again, moving runners around and putting themselves on the board again. So 2-1.
Now batting for Shannon Keevers, Georgia Hood, who's normally the cleanup hitter for this Australian team, not in the starting lineup today. Take a first pitch high for ball 1. Thought we might see Georgia Hood pitch. He did pitch during the opening round, Pool A of the World Cup Finals. Pitch misses down low. Up 2-0. World Championship final tomorrow as the rain really starts to pick up here in Castellón de Estrada. 2-0 pitch coming. This is hammered out towards right field, hooking foul. And it is indeed foul. I said the rain was hammering down. Now it's really pouring down. As it is sideways. Coming in from the left field side. If you look in the outfield, we have some dedicated fans. They're not that dedicated. Not at this stage, not in the last inning of play.
Well, they have the umbrellas because the umbrellas helped them with the heat earlier, too.
Toniolo needs a towel already. And really now, I'm Italy in the circle. I'm looking to move things quite quickly. This rain is just picking up. There's conversation with the home plate umpire. And we will resume play here, it appears. And now we won't. As the home plate umpire makes the call, Jose Chaparro. His call once the game is in progress, and we will head into a rain delay here. 2-1 top of the 7th inning. We are in a rain delay here. We're watching the WBSC World Cup Finals on GameTime.Sport. Stay Strata. Not too long of a delay, about 20 minutes here. As Georgia Hood at the plate. Rain has played a little bit of havoc. You'll see back behind home plate the purple decorations on the white containers. Well, fortunately, the water from the rain has made them a bit opaque. So we are using some monitors to call the game here, but no matter. Chris Knobloch, Amanda Fama, bringing you the rest of this one, 2-1. Just to remind you where we are, is Valeria Cacciamani into the game. First pitch from her to Georgia Hood. In there for a strike. Count 2-2. Cacciamani. And Hood will strike out. That is out number 2 here, and a big one. Australia with the 2-1 lead. They have the runners on the corners. Tough at bat for Georgia Hood, who was ahead in the count 2-1. And then faced 2 strikes from a completely different pitcher 20 minutes later. There's not a lot that can train you for that.
And good strategy, too, I guess, from the Italian side, thinking ahead. Cacciamani going with that changeup, one of her olive oil and bread pitches, or bread and butter, or whatever it was. But good job kind of throwing off the Aussie hitter after this rain delay.
Very short rain delay. So Cacciamani now dealing with Michelle Cox. 1-4-3 as this is sent out towards center field. Stopping. Koutsanopoulos, her throw will come back in. In to score is Madison Scott, making it 3-1 Australia. Second base goes Jade Wall. It's a sacrifice fly for Michelle Cox. Out number 2 in the inning. And run number 2 of the inning as well. 3-1. Australia now has the lead. Coming to the plate now, Stacey McManus. McManus scored the tying run in the 6th on the RBI double by Jenna Trim. Australia scoring 1 in the 6th, now 2 in the 7th. Threatening for more with a runner at first and 2 down. They look to finish this game and finish the tournament strong with their first win. We do have the 2 scenarios now, and it is down to 2 scenarios in terms of placement. And I do need to correct myself. Puerto Rico has not yet clinched the number 5 spot. They cannot clinch the number 5 spot. They will be 6th in this tournament, regardless of who wins this game. If Italy wins, they will be 5th. China will be 7th. Australia 8th. If Australia wins, Australia 7th, Italy 8th, and China will be 5th. All to play for here. 2-1 pitch misses down low. 3 balls and a strike to Stacey McManus. Kayla Tiscaronis waits on deck for Australia. Toniolo, by the way, 3rd of an inning and a hit allowed. Pitch misses, ball 4. That's to second base. Rather, Jade Wall remains at second base, and Stacey McManus is on.
You can see the rain coming down, and I think that plays into the strategy for the Australians, because the ball is going to be wet. You see Cacciamani has that towel in the back of her pants, but for catchers or players or outfielders, particularly throwing home, the runners have to be thinking the ball's going to be wet if the ball's hit into the outfield, rolling on the grass and stuff like that. If you're on the defense, if you're the outfielders throwing home, trying to eliminate a run at the plate, make sure to be throwing it down. And so that's another part of why these rain delays are playing the rain. Obviously, it's hard because the ball's wet. But at this point, 3-1, that's something that both teams need to be thinking about and try and use it as their advantage.
Certainly, it'll impact how far you can slide, how far the ball travels on the ground. So a whole new factor, one that we haven't had for the entirety of this tournament, now coming into play in literally the last inning of play. So McManus over at first, Wall at second, stepping into the box. Tiscaronis, 7th batter of the inning. 1-0 the count to her. And as that pitch misses, 2-0. Cacciamani ready to go. Steps, kicks, and delivers. That pitch misses up and in. Ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes. 2 out, 2 on. 2 runs home for Australia. 3-1 they lead this game. Looking to finish 7th in this World Cup. Swinging through that one is Tiscaronis. Count runs, 3 balls and a strike. Let's look at the view in the Italian dugout. It's a 3-1 coming. Floats in there, but it misses. Ball 4, and bases are loaded. Up to third base, Jade Wall. Over to second, Stacey McManus. Tiscaronis is over at first base. And the cleanup hitter, Jenna Trim, with the RBI double in the 6th inning. She will be the 8th batter in the inning. And a chance to blow this game wide open. Trim waiting for the first pitch. It is in there for a strike. Runners stare in from their bases. Cacciamani delivers and misses high. 1 ball and 1 strike the count. Crowd has thinned out a bit after the rain delay, not a surprise. As Amanda mentioned earlier on the broadcast, a lot of parasols, really umbrellas doubling as parasols, suddenly being used for their primary purpose. Won't see that often in the United States, for sure. I don't think you can get away with the bleachers full of umbrellas. This is popped up. Back in foul territory, giving chase. That'll make the seats out of play. Now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Three to 1 Australia with the lead here over the hosts, Italy. Been the home side for both of the placement games they've played yesterday and today. Bit of tough luck for Italy as well, because they ran into Cardiac Canada. Canada has a bad habit right now of walking off their opponents in their last possible moment. That's what they did to Italy. The Netherlands will have to watch out for that tomorrow. They play for the bronze medal. And at 5 o'clock local time. Outruns full. And Jenna Trim. And Watman waits on deck for Australia. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 2 runs home. Payoff pitch coming from Cacciamani. And she gets the swing and miss for a 3rd strike, and it's a big one. But Australia unties the game. They score a pair. We head to the bottom of the 7th. 3-1 Australia leads Italy here at the WBSC Women's Softball World Cup Finals.
3-1. Di gioco l'Australia conduce 3-1.
Bottom of the 7th inning. Ellen Roberts back in the circle for Australia. She will face the bottom 3rd of the Italian lineup with a 2-run lead. 3-1 Australia leads Italy. Final game of the placement round here. As it will be Longy, Sheldon, Koutsanopoulos for Italy. Where the bulk of the strikeouts have come for the Australian pitching staff. That pitch is in there for a strike to Longy. 3 strikeouts out of this group of batters. Another way. That is 3 of 4 so far for the Aussies. 0-1 the count. Roberts delivers. Slashed out towards right field. Backing up and to her left is Adkins. She makes the catch, and that is out number 1. Adkins involved in the game after coming in as a pinch runner. And she will make the catch for out number 1. Longy trying to go opposite field there. Now with 1 down, comes at Melanie Sheldon. 0 for 1, also a sacrifice bunt. Pitch from Roberts. It's the outside corner. It's a tough way to have a tournament end, regardless of how you were playing in the tournament, to have the rain interrupt things. Never a welcome interruption, certainly not at this stage in the tournament. In its twilight moments, that pitch just misses off the plate. 1-1. One ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Roberts steps and delivers. Chopped off the plate, foul. Sheldon down to her last strike. Field has dried really well here, and speaks to the quality of the field and grounds crew that we've had for this World Cup week. Facilities have been kept in excellent shape. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Roberts delivers, and this is up. Now leaving things at 2. Waiting on deck, Kutsonopoulos. 1 for 2, pair of strikeouts. Both those coming against Kendra Lamb. 2-2, chopped foul. Over towards the Italian dugout, and out of play. Italy scoring their run. Bottom of the first. Dayton scoring on the RBI double by Mackenzie Barbara. Since then, all Australia. That's been limited to the last 2 innings. Australia tying the game in the 6th, scoring twice in the 7th. 2-2. Called 3rd strike, and that is out number 2. Sheldon goes down looking. 5th strikeout for Australian pitching, and they are down as Italy are down to their final out. So 2 down. Italy trails by 2 in this one. Kutsonopoulos up. Standing in from the right side, righty-righty matchup. First pitch fouled back to the screen. Strike 1. Roberts granted the sign she wants. 0-1. This is high and away. Kutsonopoulos, no hits yet in this tournament. Would be quite a moment to get her first. 1-1, just misses away. 4-2. Roberts, deep breath in the circle. 2-1, in there for strike 2. Kutsonopoulos down to her final strike, as is the host nation, Italy. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Australia with a 2-run lead. 3-1 the score. Roberts delivers, and that just misses inside to run the count full. Kutsonopoulos can extend the game. Isabella Dayton, it's on deck. It is 1 for 3. In order to get there, Kutsonopoulos has to do her part. Payoff pitch coming from Roberts. popped up, back behind the plate, and out of play, and he will do it again. Australia looking for their first win of this tournament. They are one strike away from securing it, as well as 7th place in this World Cup Finals. It would be 8th with an Australian win. The loss, Australia comes 8th. Italy comes 5th. Payoff pitch coming again. Misses ball 4. That will bring the tying run to the plate. We talk about the individual moments that matter so much. Strikeout there ends the tournament. Instead now, Bella Dayton represents the tying run. She will bat.
Good job from Koutsanopoulos laying off Ellen's bread and butter, as we've been saying, but up in the zone, wanting her to chase it, because now Italy's best offensive player is up to bat in what everyone wants, the prime situation.
Dayton, 1-4-3, has scored the lone Italian run. And she will take ball 1. Struck out in her last at-bat. That was in the 5th inning. All 3 of her at-bats so far have been against starter Kendra Lamb. 1-0 coming from Roberts. Side out towards left field, looking foul. Will make the seats out of play. Dayton has had a very, very good tournament. Lead-off hitter for this Italian side. 1-1 coming to her. This is inside, ball 2. That will prompt Tiscaronis. She'll have a quick word with her pitcher. It's a very quick word. She is summarily dismissed.
Yeah, just a reminder, hey, calm down a little bit. And Roberts is in the zone. Go get back there. You know, we got this.
2-1 pitch coming. Just misses inside. 3 balls into strike.
We're really trying to jam her, get her to hit it off the handle and keep it in the infield. Again, Dayton with the speed that she has, it's a threat. Koutsanopoulos at first has speed as well, so down by 2. You want to jam her. If she turns on it, if she's able to catch up on it, most likely foul. And then that's a setup pitch, so really working the inside, but not really working here. Again, good eyes and Dayton. So now the coach has to come out and kind of calm it down. You're not going to turn him away.
And certainly going from a 1-2, 2-2 pitch. Strike away from ending the tournament. Now 3-1. Runner at first base. And with the hottest hitter, in fact, the number 2 hitter in the entire tournament at the plate. 3-1 coming. This is grounded out towards second. McManus has it, fires to first. And that will end the ball game. Australia will win their first game. They will finish 7th in this World Cup. Italy falls in their final hurdle. They will finish 8th as the final score. Australia 3, Italy 1. And Amanda, good for Australia to get the win here, but an Italian team that can hold their heads up high. Yes, they finished 8th in this World Cup. They have hosted well. They have performed really quite well, better certainly than the result would say, on the field.
I think that goes for both teams, Chris. Australia struggling, but still performing really well, but not